So very, very powerful all-in-one solution that we're providing. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing and turn it over to Taylor to show you shooting range demo. Taylor.
Right. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And Paul, I think you're just a late bloomer. You're going to be a rock star.
Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you. There you go. There you go.
All right. Can everyone see my screen okay? All right. Okay. Looks like we're in Bravo. So the first thing I want to do is start on the dashboard and just show you how you're going to get to range management. So down here on the bottom right, you'll have a range management tab. We'll go ahead and click on that and we'll get right into starting a new visit. So here at the top, maybe we have a group with us today. We're going to type in our first customer here. And we'll select them. And maybe we have 2 adults and some minors. So on the right-hand side, I'm going to go to add new customer. And then below each customer, you're going to see a minors tab. So I can click minors here. And it's going to include any minors that have been in previously. If we want to bring somebody else in, we just go here to create new. I'm going to choose 2 of the existing. We'll hit OK. And now we want to go ahead and make sure that their waivers are checked. So we're going to go ahead and take care of those waivers and then come back into Bravo and indicate that those are complete by checking this box down here. It won't let us move forward until we check those waiver boxes. Now we can go ahead and start adding some rentals in, maybe some fees, eye protection, ear protection, all of the above. So I'm going to go to my rental list here at the bottom. These can be simply added in from your inventory. So we'll check one here, or maybe we want to check a couple of them and click add on the right. And then there's 2 ways that we can add in some eye protection, ear protection. You can run those as fees or different packages here. We can add in some targets, even put in our duration. So maybe we'll start here with an hour. We'll go to add. And then maybe we want to add in some ear protection and some ammo. So we can type in a SKU. That's going to apply the ammo right down here. Maybe we want to shoot 200 rounds. And if we wanted to add in some eye protection, again, you can also create SKUs for those. So I have a couple here. Go to add, and we can put in our quantity for that. And then we'll go ahead and do the same thing for our other customer here. We're just going to do 1 firearm. And we can put in their different fees. All right. And then now all we need to do is select our lanes. So on the right-hand side, we have different bays and lanes. These are all customizable. So we can do lane 1 and lane 2 if we wanted to. And we can have our customers pay at the beginning of this transaction or any time throughout the visit. So I'll go ahead and have 1 customer pay now. It'll take you right into their profile. All of this will be very familiar to you as you go through here. We'll just do some cash, save and finish. We'll print that receipt. And then we'll go back into range and hit next. At this point, it's going to print out some range passes for us and move our customers into their range visit. So now under range, like Paul had mentioned, you're going to see how much time they have left. You're going to have some icons indicating if they have minors, how many firearms are rented, and if everyone has paid. So these 2 icons here are going to turn green once rentals have been returned and everything has been paid. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and fast forward in time on the right-hand side and go to checkout. That's going to move them down here into our checkout tab. And you'll see here that we do have somebody that is over. So again, like Paul had mentioned, you'll be able to see they've gone over. Maybe we need to apply a little more time, give them that 30 minutes extra or hour extra. So with this party, we can see they have a balance here of 311.83. We'll click on that customer and we can go ahead and have them settle up. Any security bits put in the system will also still apply in range. And we can go ahead and finish this up, print out our receipt, and jump back in and get into returning our rentals now. So we're just going to click on this rentals tab here at the bottom, and we can click on each item and click return. Right, and then we'll return this one here. And now you'll see that our payment screen and our rentals, when we hit complete, under completed are now green. So this visit is complete. All the rentals have been returned. Everything's been paid for. And that's how you would go through a whole range visit. You can sit in this screen and say you have a computer by your range. You could have that there, and that employee could run range visits all day long. Now, another important thing here is reporting. You want to know when guns are coming in and when they're being returned and the amounts paid. We have all of that for you as well. So going back to the dashboard under reports, you're going to have range activity summary under your sales reports at the bottom. And we can go here to preview, and it's going to give us some really cool information. So I'll choose a date range. We can choose our lanes and bays. I'm going to go ahead and choose everything. And then here on the left-hand side, you're going to see your different bay names, the visits, and the revenue per bay, the amount of rentals, customer visits, all of the above. So you'll see what's being utilized the most, and you'll be able to see, maybe if you're making more money in your outdoor bays and lanes than you are inside, and you can kind of dig into that and see why that is. So we've got a lot of good variables there. We can jump back to the dashboard, and that is going to be your range preview.
That's outstanding. Thanks, Taylor.
Yeah.
I think that we did run a beta program as well, and we had some good feedback coming through our beta program, and you highlighted some of those areas that we heard about as pain points from customers, right? Understanding how much time is being spent on the range, helping to manage assignment to the lanes, and then also tracking the actual revenue that each lane might be generating, or bay, right? If you have a more complex range setup. So really appreciate you taking us through that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. I'm going to we'll go back to slides and keep moving, because we have a lot of other great stuff that we're going to show you, and go back and do that. Perfect. Thanks again, Taylor. Oh, there we go. Whoa, boy. I had a lag here. Sorry, y'all. Slight lag on my clicking. So we're going to get into some demos around the point of sale ERP capabilities. I'm going to run through all the slides first, because we have a number of demos, and then I'll turn it over to Vinaya on my team to take you through each one. I'll just give a quick overview for each demo that we're going to be running through. First one is around adding inventory to a repair. We heard this both from our firearm retailers, but then also jewelers, right? If you have something that's in inventory, you want to easily add that into a repair and have that tracked, but not have to do a separate transaction in order to bring it into a repair. We have that fully enabled now, so you can take those inventory items, add them into your repair, and then execute the repair, and we'll track all those items for you as you move through the repair workflow. So really excited about this one, allowing you to have better tracking of those items from inventory that you're adding into a repair, and then also, deliver more value to your customers by being able to do more complex repairs and use Bravo to manage and enable that. So that's a very important one. Second one that we've heard a lot of feedback from customers around is, adding credit card surcharge. So being able to pass along fees from credit card processing onto your customers. So that's something that we now have enabled within Bravo, and we'll take you through how to set that up and get that going. Third thing is around edit consignments. Wanted to make sure that you could adjust consignment items, terms, splits and dates without having to redo the entire consignment. So heard you on that one. We have that capability now, which I'm really, really excited to be able to share with you. Fourth is around the batch loading on inventory screen. So for ad hoc reporting, adding some ability to just be able to select the initial number of rows. I've heard from a number of power users, hey, it'd be nice if we could just select instead of going by 250 every time. We have a lot of stores, we have a lot of inventory that we're trying to manage. Can I get that added? So glad to have that there, and we'll take you through that. The last one related to ad hoc reporting as well is around improving our jewelry filtering. So really a number of great additions that we've added here for criteria, and Benaya will take you through that. So with that, I will pause, stop sharing, and turn it back over to Benaya. Benaya, thank you.
All right, thanks, Paul.
Take it away.
Get my screen share going here. Okay. Yeah, like Paul said, we'll start in with the repairs and adding inventory to repairs. So I've got a repair started already here that I brought through the estimator. I put in my relevant gun book information for this pistol I'm taking in. I've added my service fee for actually doing the labor of replacing the trigger on this. And then say I've got a SKU of replacement triggers that I want to pull in from my inventory. I can put that inventory number straight into the smart search here at the top. It will recognize it as an item with inventory status, and it'll pull it in as a repair part here and show that on the invoice estimate that I'm giving to my customer at the end of the transaction. So I can add it on here. I can save this transaction and then carry on with it. The other thing I could do, if I'm not sure what part I want to use during the repair creation, I can actually wait to do that. I can go ahead and save this repair, which I'll do now. And then after I do the repair creation, I can go into the repair screen, start processing my repair, and I'll be able to add in the inventory the same way by just adding the item through the smart search on the repair processing screen. These are my printouts that would normally come out of your store's printers, but I've got my workstation set up for PDF printing, so that's why it's prompting me for file names for my printouts. My labels, my estimate, receipt for the customer. And then, as I said, I can go here to repairs, get into the actual repair that I'm set to process, and then I can add that in here same way. It shows up as a repair part. And then when I save this, it will have taken the item, and since that was a SKU item, it has split an item off from that SKU and set it aside on my inventory to process with that repair. So if I look it up here in the inventory screen, it's got a pending repair sales status. This is the item that I've split off. If I look at the item history, I can see that this is the single item quantity that's been split off from my main SKU. And then once I do the repair pickup on this, the item will go to a sold status. and it will count as revenue for the store. I'll pause here just to address any questions for repair item handling.
No, that looks great, Benaya.
All right, awesome.
Thank you for that.
Next slide that Paul covered there was credit card surcharge handling. So I'm going to go into my store system configuration.
While you're doing that, real quick,
Sure.
does it show up as a normal good or B good sale, or does it show up as part of the revenue for repairs?
It would, I believe it shows up as sales, as if you had sold the item. So it doesn't count. The fees for the repair servicing count toward like repair revenue, but the actual sale of the item shows up as an item sale.
Thanks for that.
Yep.
Looks like that answered the question as well. Thanks, Suzanne, for that question.
Okay, awesome. For our credit card surcharges, I'm back in system configuration to set up these new fee types. So I've got a new fee type down here in the drop down. It's surcharges. I've got a couple set up already, and I'll just click edit to show what the configuration is for them. The add fee type would be the same, but I can set the name of my surcharge. This is the name that will show up in the transaction screen, tender screen when I go and see these these surcharge fees, and then this fee name actually prints the receipt as well, and I'll show that. So I can set the name. I can choose either a flat rate amount for it or a percentage of my sale, and then that percentage calculation will be based on these configurations down here about whether I apply it to only taxable items or to all items on the sale, and whether my percentage should be calculated on the subtotal or the tax inclusive total of the sale. So that's all the percentage calculation. The tax group shows here as non-taxable. Usually when we set up fees, there's a selection, but we found that for surcharges, they shouldn't really be allowed to be taxed. So we just show it as non-taxable just to confirm. And then the general ledger account that it posts to, just like any other fee that you configure in Bravo, you can select here. This drop down for tender types is going to show all of my credit card tender types. So I'll click on a few here that I want to be able to apply this fee to, and then go ahead and save this. I've got two fees here. One is a 2% fee, and then let's say Visa charges me a little more, so I've added a separate fee that's 3%, and I want to be able to recoup the full 3%. I've set that, and I've set my tender type there as Visa. And then once I have these set up, I can go to the tenders tab here in system configuration and select those individual tenders and change what's this new config for the default surcharge fee. If I don't have this set, I can still choose one of the applicable fees during processing the transaction, but if I do set my default fee, it'll pick this one first as soon as I click that transaction. So I've set my Visa to my new Visa processing fee. I'll go out and ring up an item for sale. And for easy rounding, just round up to $400 here for my sale. When I get to tender screen and I select my credit card tender, that's where I'm going to see the user interface for selecting the processing fee. So here is the surcharge dropdown. It's automatically applied my default surcharge, and then I could change it to one of the other ones that I have set to be allowed to use for this tender type. And you'll see that this is the fee I set up is applied to the pre-tax amount, the subtotal amount. So we're doing 2% of the 400 subtotal. And if I were to change the amount that I'm collecting on this tender, so if I'm going to split it up between Visa and MasterCard and do the same transaction with two different tender types, it'll proportionally apply that surcharge. So if I did, half of this 242 instead of 44, I'd get half of that surcharge fee. It'd be $4 instead of $8. And then I had a printout prepared just to show for the receipt. It just shows up underneath the tax amount here on the receipt, the name of my fee and the amount that I charge them. And that's surcharges.
That's great. And then there was a question, there's an X there. So if we can choose, we can eliminate the surcharge at our discretion.
Yeah, it's you can clear it and not charge it at all. Yeah.
Good.
Or you can choose one of the ones that's available.
And the question was,
And again, this would be the look if you didn't set your default. It would be available but not applied.
and the question was, is there a security bit for that as well?
Currently, there is not a security bit around changing from the default fee or removing it or adding it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Next one from those slides was the ability to edit consignments. So let me grab my consignment here, get into our consignments management screen and look it up. So this is mainly for, it's been requested pretty heavily by FFLs that take firearms in on consignment and need to adjust the consignment terms without having to return the item to the customer and run a background check and do an unnecessary E4473. So we've added an ability here. This is a multi-item consignment. I'll just show this one because it's a little more complex. It adds, it can be handled, but the changes that you make to consignment would need to apply to all of the items. So that's why I picked this multi-item consignment. But you'll see that I do have edit consignment here on the left panel now. When I select a consignment that has items that are still in my store available to be returned to the customer, if I click edit consignment, it'll bring up a familiar dialog that is typically seen during consignment creation. And I've got this warning here letting me know this is a multi-item consignment. Any changes I make are going to apply to all the items on this ticket. So we can see that this one's way past due. So I would need to change this. So if I wanted to set it some extra time so that I don't keep getting these reminders from the system that, this is late and I need to return it back to the consigner. If I set, say, an extra 30 days from today, it'll set my return date to February 15th. And then let's say instead of doing a 15% split on these items, I want to change it to a 10% split so that the consigner gets more. So I have those options here. I could also change it to fixed amounts and then adjust my minimum prices here for all of these items. Once I click OK, the pending changes would be highlighted within the grid in yellow. I can click on review pending changes. If I do multiple consignment changes all in this screen, I can see those changes that are pending. And then once I save this, all of these adjustments will be made and committed in the system. So that's editing consignments. Again, I mentioned the multi-item consignment needing to apply changes to everything. The other thing is that if this multi-item consignment had one item that had been sold already and it's not returnable, then I wouldn't be able to edit this consignment. There are some restrictions around whether I can change the terms because it's a change that gets applied to the entire ticket. So I have to have every item available to make that change. The button itself will be disabled in that case. Let me just double check something. There is a security bit around editing consignments. For employees, it would be allowed or manager approval. So if I go to save this, it'll prompt me, let me know, I need to approve these changes that I'm making. And this will give you a paper trail through the general exception report to see, okay, who made this change to this consignment, who allowed it to be pay out more to the consigner, or who extended this consignment, etc. And that consignment security bit would be located Just a moment. Edit consignment right there under point of consignment. I'm sorry, I didn't mention that the adding repair items is also controlled by a security bit. There's add repair parts from inventory underneath repairs. So just to refer back to that feature, we also have a bit there. If I tried to scan an inventory item with this setting not allowed, then I would get an information dialog that tells me that I need to talk to a manager to get permission to do it. Okay.
Good stuff. Thanks, man.
Yeah, any additional questions around editing consignments?
No, it looks great. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. I'm gonna combine our last two demos here, my last two demos, into one because they're both related to ad hoc reporting on the inventory screen. So I've already, let's see here, I'm in the inventory screen. I've gone to ad hoc reporting. Paul mentioned that there's, instead of a max rows, which is what shows right now in the system, we change this to the initial rows. So this is the first set of data you're going to get back from your ad hoc reporting search. I can choose the same options that are currently available in our production system. And then I now have an option of choosing what gets returned first by my search. So if I wanted to find my highest cost items first, I would sort by cost and then go descending so that the highest priced items, highest cost items get sent back to me first and sorted in that order.
And Vinay, there was a question on the initial rows. Is that available in the loans section as well?
It's not available yet, but it is a change that we want to put back into the loans ad hoc reporting. It was feedback. We made this change as we added back to the inventory screen for our batch loading, but yeah, we haven't made those changes yet on the loan side, but we're looking to. Okay, so we'll see those results as I do the search on these items. I'm going to also highlight that we have some new ad hoc reporting criteria for jewelry stores. We've gotten some feedback that, you know, maybe the stores want to find some items that they might want to scrap, but they don't want to go through the scrap process yet, so they don't want to start a scrap bucket. And so we've added some different criteria around metal weight. So I have metal weight here. I have a couple other metal related criteria such as metal purity and metal type and color. And then for diamonds and stones, we have four other criteria. One is total diamond size, the other is total stone size, and then whether those pieces of jewelry are authentic diamond jewelry or authentic stone jewelry. So authentic diamond jewelry would mean that, you know, in the case that it has more than one diamond in it, all diamonds have to be authentic for it to be considered authentic diamond jewelry. So if even a single diamond is marked as a lab grown diamond, then it would qualify as not authentic diamond jewelry. But that's what that criteria does. I'm gonna go ahead and run this report for just metal weight being over a certain petty weight, and you'll see based on my setup that I got my first 250 items. I could also change it to get my first 50 instead. If I wanted to just get quickly the 50 highest cost items out of my search. So it shows me the first 50. I've got that option that's familiar to the Loan Spy screen where I click Show More to load up the next page of 250. So my total is going to be 300 items. And then I've put in, since I'm searched by metal weight, I've also got my metal type and metal purity here. I can filter by specific colors. Or if I wanted to narrow this down, instead of having to load everything and then do my filtering, I can add in like that metal type and color and just say I want to do gold. I don't have to select the color of gold. I can just select gold as my metal type and return that. And that'll narrow me down to, I think if I increased my initial rows to 250, this store maxes out at like 150 items or so that are meeting all these criteria. Yeah, 126.
That's great.
So those
Benaya.
are, yeah, those are
There was a
improvements to.
question. There was a question around: are we going to have a separate criteria for lab diamond at some point?
So if I'm looking for items that have, actually I have a saved report for this, diamond jewelry in inventory, and I want to do total diamond size, I can run it, and then I can see here. Oh, don't know what happened there. It loaded up the grid, authentic diamond jewelry. Any of these items that where the checkbox was not checked would mean that at least one of the items has a lab grown diamond on it. But I would have to check to see. I would have to go into this specific item to see whether it's all lab grown diamonds or if it's just one of the multiple diamonds in it.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm. So there's a way to get that. You could sort on that authentic diamond column as well, right? So
Yep.
and then that would be a way to get there for now.
Right.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Pause just to make sure there aren't any other questions around the ad hoc reporting side. There's one around the credit card surcharge. So I just wanted to make sure we address that. But anything
Okay.
else on the ad hoc? Okay, great. For the surcharge, credit card surcharge, will that apply to mobile pawn as well, or is this just right now on Core Bravo client?
For this release, it's Core Bravo only, so it'd be just within the workstation transactions.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. It is something we're exploring as well for company branded websites as well. So if you are doing, if you have your own store branded website with us, we are thinking about extending the credit card surcharge to that paradigm as well. So with respect to the California pawnbrokers new fee, Tony, we're actively exploring how we can enable that for you. Target is to deliver that in the first half of 2025. So if you're in California and you want to take advantage of some of the new regulations that California has around stores being able to charge a convenience fee, we're actively working that and expect to deliver that in the first half of 2025 at the latest. Hey, that's our first thumbs up and hand clap. Okay, great. All right. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Benaya, for that. Really great demos. Let's go back to the slides for a minute here, and we will talk about the next set of demos that we have coming up. So wanted to talk about some key things that we put into the E4473 offering. Again, as we talked about with range, and one of the big differentiators for Bravo is you get all of this inventory management, point of sale, all the ERP workflows, and then you also get compliance all integrated into one solution. And we made some really significant enhancements for the E4473 side as well in this release, and really excited to have Peter take you through those. The first one is around multiple firearm updates on E4473, being able to, let's say someone comes into the store, they've already had a background check, but when they're doing a pickup for one firearm, hey, can I also do this other, I want to get this other firearm. Instead of having to kick off a whole new E4473 or cancel out this one and restart the whole process again, you can easily add firearms onto an existing 4473, which we heard was a big driver for your businesses. Second one is around Spanish for the consumer experience for E4473. So providing this as a facility to allow Spanish-speaking customers to be able to understand what they're signing up for when they're going through the E4473 workflows. So with that as quick introduction, I'll turn it over to Peter to take you through both of those demos. Peter, over to you.
Thank you, Paul. Let me share my screen here. Zoom will let me. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and start off with the E4473, adding additional firearms. Again, as Paul eloquently described, this is a great for a use case of a common case that we get where users will say purchase a firearm, fill out the E4473, and then when they come to pick up that firearm, want to attach a separate firearm or E4473 relevant item. As long I just want to point out this will work as long as you haven't per federal regulations as you haven't signed and dated, done both of those things to the form, which is in our process just hitting next and signing. You'll be able to add additional firearms. That can be done. As you can see, this is E4473 has been filled out, the form's been completed. The customer comes back in, wants to add an additional firearm. We'll just click add additional firearm here. That button will be available as long as all the conditions federally mandated are met to do this. Go ahead and add in an additional firearm. We scan that in. It's important to note that this transaction screen here is very independent of any other transaction screen. The only thing that you'll be allowed to do is add in E4473 relevant items to this form. If I attempt to add in, just a regular item that doesn't require an E4473, it's going to give me an error and instruct me to add it after the E4473 portion of the transaction has been completed. Go ahead, hit OK there. We're going to add this firearm in. Again, this works with both pay up front and pay at pickup. In this use case here that we're presenting, it's a pay at pickup, so the amount's $0, but we still have that firearm fee available. I'm going to navigate to next here. And then we navigate to the tender screen. Again, if you're a pay up pickup, that's going to be $0 without any fees. But if you're a pay up front, that's where they will pay for the firearm here. Once we go ahead and pay for that amount, we're going to get our manager approval. Now, because different states have different regulations in regards to this, whether some will allow only pistol-to-pistol additions, some allow everything, and some will, it depends on age and all that sort of status. We give a description here of the firearm that's being added or firearms that are being added to the E4473, along with the original firearms and their categories. So that can help your managers from state by state kind of regulate this a bit better. We'll go ahead and approve this. And then now we'll be taken back to that E4473 page where that firearm has been added. And as you can see on the E4473, it's been added there as well. So you can see now we have 2 firearms on that E4473. Now, once I put in my transaction number and hit proceed, I've got the date. We're a little bit early on the wait and release period just for this demo purposes. Once I hit next, and this is the signature I was talking about, that once this is signed, we cannot add any more additional firearms. If I cancel this, I can go ahead and add more in even after that original transaction. We'll hit accept, and that'll take us to our pickup where now I can add in additional non-E4473 items and then complete the purchase. This also updates the 44310 as well, or 3310 as well. And then once that's updated, it's all set up and you're ready to check out.
That's great. There were 2 questions. There were 2 questions. Does it have to be the same type, i.e., long gun, handgun, etc.?
No, it looks like that federally that's not a restriction, but I know at some locally it is. That's why we've added that manager approval at the end, depicting the categories of the firearms so that you can manage that at your state levels with that manager approval.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Peter. And then the next question was, when does the customer sign for the additional firearm? I think you addressed that in the demo where you showed that they sign.
Right. So that end will be is when the employee will sign for it. If it's a recertification, I did this transaction same day. They'll be prompted. If we go back here, cancel this out. Just the page before. So once you try to proceed on that, I'll ask you just like a normal recertification, and then you sign for it on that.
Got it. So it'll be right as you're adding it. You just recertify at that point.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Outstanding. Thank you, Peter.
Go ahead and move on to the Spanish version of the E4473. We can see a much more handsome Peter here, and he is Spanish speaking. So we'll go into edit here just to confirm that, just to show you all. That section is under notes here. You can see his preferred language is Spanish Mexico. This change will apply to any customers that have this preferred language to any sort of Spanish relevant, whether it's Mexico, Spain, or whatever the language selection is here. If it's non-Spanish, the form will still be presented in English. Get done here. So on the employee's end, everything's still going to remain in English. They can now print in both English and Spanish. Just to put everyone's minds at ease a little bit, the documentation is taken directly from the ATF. So everything is exactly how they want it. No worries about any translation errors or anything like that, because that comes directly from the ATF. When we look to view our E4473, because his default language is Spanish, it will be set in Spanish here as well. We can see everything's set to Spanish. If his language is set to English, it's going to default to English here. The neat portion about this, however, is when we go to send that E4473 to the customer, they scan, and let me bring up my phone here. And when they sign in, again, if their language is default set to Spanish, it'll automatically put their form in Spanish. If it's set to any other language, it'll automatically appear in English. And regardless of what their language preference is set to, they can toggle between the two up until they sign the document. And that's done on page 1. We can see here a view in English form here, which will update this form. So we'll slow with the double screen sharing, so I do apologize. But it'll update it to English here. And then again, if you send it in English to the customer, they can see the ver en español at the top, again, switching it back to Spanish. This will update the entire form. So as we progress, we can see everything's in Spanish, again, taken directly from the Spanish version of the E4473. Once that's submitted, again, it'll be submitted to it'll be submitted in Spanish. Once they've signed and done that, any recertifications will need to be done in the exact same language for legal requirements. But that's the demo for the Spanish version. Any questions or concerns with that?
I think that was awesome, Peter. No questions that I'm seeing. I think Taylor replied to the ones from Suzanne. So thank you, Peter. That's really exciting. I noticed that we're already at about 8 minutes to the hour, and we were planning on 2 additional demos. I'll go ahead and share my screen. I think Peter will hold those until next time, since those demos were a bit forward looking into February. So Peter, you're off the hook for those other 2 demos, but really great job sharing those 2 with us, and thank you for that. I will quickly speak to some capabilities that we have coming out in February for our mobile apps that I think you'll be really excited to see and pleased to see. The first one is around our Shopkeeper application. We added a lot more detail and some better design around the information that we're presenting for manager approval. So you have more context around some of those details that will help you make a better decision should you approve it or not. So that's something that's coming in February. If you want to see a demo of that, we'll cover that in our next webinar. But based on customer feedback that we heard from a lot of you, having some better visibility into what they're actually approving is something that was a clear ask, and really glad that we're moving that forward. The second aspect is putting consignments on mobile apps. So if you're doing consignments, your consumers will have more ability to see what's going on with the consignments, the items that are consigned, chat about them, access their terms directly from their mobile devices. So again, that'll be coming in February. All right, back to the January release coming up here in less than a week now. Just wanted to do a quick run through of other important updates, features, and functionality. This will be a bit of a speed round. just again, in the interest of time, because Rachel has a few important items to share with you at the end. So on the consignment tab in terminology, one thing we're always looking at is trying to consolidate or standardize our terms across the board. So looking at user experience, we've improved the hover behaviors of the consignment experience, how we're blocking some of the text, standardized our terminology as well across all the consignment experiences. So a UX change, very, very excited to see that. The contact history, this is a great usability thing. So you can, filter by employee and displaying at store for non-home employees or system if unavailable. So make it easier to figure out what's going on around customer interactions and perhaps, who had that last touch with a customer. You'll now see that in the contact history, and then you can filter as well by that employee. The improved reloan, reconsign. So added multi-select checkboxes, so you can add multiple items to a single ticket with this new multi-item option. So that's something that we heard from you around. Let's just make this a lot easier when you're selecting loans, creating single tickets, and identifying those really quickly. So you'll see that in the January release. This is a big one. Heard a lot around being able to filter and search by birth date. So in our home screen, you'll see that we've added birth date into the quick search. It does require, hey, we got some hearts on that one. Okay, awesome. It does require that you put in an additional item like a first name or last name. The way our system works is we're going to filter first on an additional criteria and then automatically filter on birthday for you behind the scenes. So allow you to more quickly find customers. A lot of great reactions on this one. Okay, awesome. That's even better than the other one. So okay, got a winner on that one. So that's search filter by birthday. I'll keep moving. Assigning tax group for SKUs. You can change the tax group for SKUs now. So if you have some tax requirements that require a different tax group to be applied based on your region, based on the local regulations, you can now change that tax group for a SKU. Easier web fulfillments, back to that e-commerce, workload. There's a new customer search column that we added. So that you can and display order age and hours for better efficiency as well. And you can go ahead and search by customer or order information there in that column there you see in the top right. So easier to sort through all of your web orders, help with multiple web fulfillments, etc. Biometric scanner. So for pawns and redemptions, we added the ability to do fingerprint scanning, thumbprint scanning for that purpose. So you can actually verify with biometrics that the customer is actually the customer. So that's in the product as well. All right, additional E4473 capabilities. Just really basic kind of UX thing, just improve some of the messaging around 3310s, which firearms are missing, matching E4473s, just to provide some better clarity there. If perhaps, let's say a E4473 was done or a 4473 was done outside of Bravo, this is where that can be really helpful. The watermark, optional. So for E4473, we've made that now optional. The default for this is that the watermark will be on by default, just to stay with how we've implemented the system from the past. So if you like the watermark, you don't have to do anything. It'll keep showing up. But if you don't like the watermark, go ahead and hit this config, and the watermark will no longer be there for you. All right, speaking of configurations, last release, we put in the ability to pre-print checks. We heard some feedback saying, hey, it'd be nice to be able to put signatures on those checks as well. So that's now available as a configuration option. So that'll be there in this release. The auto lock override, sometimes heard some feedback around, oh man, this auto lock is, really kind of impacting my efficiency. You can now disable that auto lock on particular workstations with that config. And a capital pawn ticket. So we covered this a little bit around the compliance for the mobile, etc. CAPA did come out with a new ticket. We do have that in the system. And as I mentioned earlier, we are exploring ways we can enable you to capture the additional convenience fees via mobile, and we'll be implementing that in the first half of 2025. So we're always working to stay on top of the latest and greatest compliance with respect to tickets, et cetera. And this is just another proof point of that. Wanted to provide a quick glimpse into, and we're at the top of the hour, into what 2025 looks like. Just some things that are coming, in the rest of the year. We're going to do SKU variants. Want to deliver guns.com and gunbroker.com integrations. We have a number of customers who are posting inventory to guns.com and gunbroker.com. Want to make that easier for you. Customer rewards and loyalty, in addition to coupons. That's something that we've heard loud and clear on. Need to get that going. For branded websites in Baya, useguns.com, we're redesigning all those to give a more modern look and feel, which we're really excited about. We're going to continue to do integrations. My background is in platform and scaling, B2B SaaS companies like Bravo. So integrations are critical. Stay tuned for that on other integrations we'll do through the course of the year. And we want to make it easier for you to chat with your customers via the core Bravo workstation. And that'll be something that we'll be implementing later in the year. Last but definitely not least, Estimator is something that Bravo has been a leader in the field on. We can really, I think, improve how we look at Estimator with more robust AI, especially on the front end for capture of items and valuing those goods up front. So stay tuned on that. But later in the year, hopefully we'll be able to show you a great demo of how you can more quickly bring in items, get them classified, categorized, etc. Get condition of those items using some AI capabilities we're going to be coming out with. And with that, let's turn it over back to Rachel, and Rachel, tell me when to progress the slides, and I'll go ahead and move things along.
Thanks, Paul. So I just wanted to give a few more updates from kind of more my side of the house after we did all this great product run through. So first and foremost, Bravo Pawnbroker Network. If you're not aware, we have a private Facebook group exclusive for Bravo and Pawnmaster users only. It's a great place to kind of swap tips and advice, get input from other pawnbrokers, ask us questions. We keep a really close eye on that group, so it's a great place to go to kind of get the latest and greatest from Bravo. If you want to switch to the next one, Bravo Store Supplies. In case you've missed this too, we've launched Bravo Store Supplies. It's been up and running for 6 months, close to now. And we do hard goods and consumables through there. Everything works with Bravo and different features and setups you might have. And it's a great place. And Chris helps with sales on Bravo Store Supplies, and he's a great resource too if you have any questions as you're working through what you need to order. He's a great person to talk to, and his contact information is all over the site as well. And that's bravostoresupplies.com. And then finally, we'll be at SHOT Show starting next Tuesday. And poor Peter. Peter's not going, but everyone else, every other face you see here will be there throughout SHOT Show. If you've stopped by our booth before, we're in the same place we've been the past couple years, booth 41921. We're really, really excited to finally get to show you all range. Well, y'all have got a little sneak peek, but getting to show everyone else at SHOT Show range. We've got popcorn every afternoon while we're there, so stop by and grab a snack, see the crew. Vinaya and Paul will be there to kind of get your feedback, ask you questions. If you want to share anything with them, they'll be on site. So please let us know if you'll be there. We'd be really happy to connect with you and see you. And that's all I've got.
There will be popcorn as well. Popcorn. And we got a preview yesterday of some of the stickers and some of the swag that Rachel has. I'm telling you, it's really tremendous. So please do stop by if you're going to be there. You'll be happy you did.
We did get some fun stickers made. I wanted stickers that people would be like kind of excited to put on their computers or their counters, all that. So those are there. I know we're a little over time, but if anyone has any remaining questions on anything we covered today, if they want to throw those in the chat or the Q&A, or
Yep.
ooh, we did get
I see those. We did, yeah. As I was doing the run through time frame on guns.com and gunbroker.com integration. You know, for guns.com, we're targeting April right now. I can speak to that. I think that we've made the most progress on that one right now, JC. Gunbroker.com, you know, I hope to do a fast follow. If not in April, then for our July release. Love to be able to use open space on the bottom. It's wasted now. Let's see. Love to be
That's related to the Kappa ticket.
yeah.
Kappa ticket. That's Kappa ticket. Okay. Okay.
And then
I think some of those are, you know, defined for us by Kappa, right? So we kind of have to work through that, and then just see if there's anything else here that we could do on anything else. We'd really like if consignment could include in design, be designed for vendor consignment memo. Okay, let's take that one offline, Megan. Do we need to contact Fortis to get it set up for Surcharge? No, you do not, Mike. We're providing that capability.
I was
So
about
you
to
just have
say,
to
Megan,
use
you've
what's
got
in
lots of
Bravo.
questions today.
Yep, is integration with gem Lightbox being considered and worked on? No, it is not right now, but Suzanne, I'll take a look at it and see if I'll do some research on that on our end, see if we've had some other asks around that. Thank you for that.
Awesome.
Thanks. The pictures are amazing. Okay. All right. I think that covers the run through on the questions. Again, always want to hear from you as well. So you know, appreciate all the time.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much,
Well,
everybody.
yeah, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, team, for sharing all your knowledge and hard work that goes on behind the scenes here to get all these out for everyone. I'll be sending follow-up email with this recording probably tomorrow. And if y'all think of any questions in the meantime, feel free to reply to that email when you get it, or shoot us an email at hello@bravostoresystems.com and we'll get you in touch with the right people to get an answer. So thank you all so much for your time. Thanks for being here. We're super excited for the 21st. So see you later.
Thanks all. See you.
Thanks, everyone.